It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by First Southern Bank, by Murphy Builder Supply, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, and O'Quinn & Associates Country Financial.
Hi, I'm Raymond Brown.
And I'm Mandy Yeomans. At First Southern Bank, our customers are like family. As a locally owned community bank, we're dedicated to helping our clients succeed.
We have loans for every need, whether it's personal or business. We have lines of credit, auto loans, equipment loans, and of course, we offer mortgages. Stop by our bank or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings restaurant in Jessup is now open for business, practicing social distancing, but still serving that great food that Damon's is famous for. Come inside or come through the drive-thru, but Damon's is open inside and welcomes back its customers. The menu's the same, the service is fast, and the food is fantastic, and the sauces remain the same, mild, wild, insane, or inferno. The number is the same, 588-WING, 588-9464. Damon's Restaurant on West Cherry Street in Jessup, dining room now open for business. Come on in and enjoy a great meal today.
Most people understand the need for life insurance, but not many want to talk about why it's essential to your financial plan. It may seem intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Don't get overwhelmed. Get started with Country Financial. Call me, Sean O'Quinn, today at 588-1051 and let me work with you to find life insurance that gives you the protection you need at a price you can afford.
Life insurance policies issued by Country Life Insurance Company and Country Investors Life Assurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup, 2 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Monday morning, the 30th day of August. And good morning, Bob. How you doing?
I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here.
You're here. Okay.
Watched a lot of Little League World Series over the weekend. That was fun.
It was good watching those little kids play, right? Yeah, they're just playing hard, playing their hearts out.
Yeah. Came down to Ohio and Michigan. That's a pretty good rivalry.
Yeah, it is a good rivalry when you got those two states. They're always rivaling everything.
Enjoyed watching that. Watched some golf.
And watching the
NFL
Jaguars
football.
play.
The Jaguars look good.
They did.
Trevor Lawrence looks like the quarterback that they drafted. I mean, he's going to be fun to watch.
I sure hope so.
But I was surprised they traded Gardner Minshew, though. That was a
surprise, wasn't it?
I thought that if they were going to trade him, they would have traded him a lot earlier. I thought they could have got better than a 6th-round draft pick.
Six is way on down there. I mean, that's the kind of talent they thought he had, was just one 6th round.
I didn't understand that, but I don't know what I'm going to do with my Gardner Minshew bobblehead doll.
Just hold on to it. You never can tell.
They put it on eBay.
You never can tell. It can only go up in value.
There you go. Only go up in value.
That's right. Just hold on to it. Well, we have a special guest in this morning that everybody's familiar with.
We got Hospital Administrator Joe Roddy in here just to give an update on what's taking place in Wayne County. And Wayne County and Pierce County, Long County, Wayne County all made national news because as far as percentage-wise, the population were some of the highest cases numbers, not just in the state but in the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see Wayne County fly up there on national news, you're going, that's not what you want to make national news about. So, but Joe knows more than anybody what's taking place at the hospital, and he wanted to come in and talk about how bad the situation is and make people aware of what's going on. So, Joe, always good to see you, but the floor is yours, as they say.
Well, thanks for allowing me to be here this morning and kind of let folks know what's going on. And you reported on it earlier. And right now, we live in the hottest spot in the country, southeast Georgia, from Savannah, inland, all the way down through St. Mary's. Is the infection rates are the highest in the country right now.
Right, not just the state, in the
country.
In the
country. We're the hot spot in the country right now down in southeast Georgia.
We are.
In the coastal area, too.
And we have some of the lowest vaccination rates in the country. And as you reported, as the CDC so astutely said, that there's no coincidence there. If you turn on, the national news, you really don't hear a lot about the coronavirus very much. You don't hear about them canceling contests and things going on in other parts of the country now. And locally we do, but it's a mess right now, Bob. There's Butch and Bob. It's everywhere. I mean, the infection rates are really, really high.
And I talked to you over the weekend. You've been keeping up with what's going on, but you said it's just ambulance after ambulance after ambulance coming up to the hospital, and it's just a tough situation right now. And hats off to all those people working at the hospital, because they're working a lot of hours and having to deal with a lot of things. So they're the true warriors and heroes in this story for sure.
I'm not going to mince any words about it. It's a war zone right now. It's like nothing you can't even explain it unless you actually see it. These folks that are coming in are sick. They're extremely sick, and 96% of them, just like you reported this morning, are unvaccinated. I never thought I would see the day where people would take medical advice from YouTube and Facebook and not from their physician. If we could get anything across to folks today, if you haven't been vaccinated yet, you really need to talk to your physician about it. There's a clear delineation between those who are vaccinated and unvaccinated. And Bob, look at you. You're a cancer survivor. You're in your 60s. You're fully vaccinated. You contracted a mild case of COVID and was walking 3 miles a day. I don't know many COVID patients that can walk 3 miles a day. So, you're a prime example of how even if you do get a breakthrough case, that it's going to be mild. And remember now, when the vaccine was brought out, it was talked about to be 95% effective, and that's what we're seeing. But the majority of the lion's share of the folks that are at the hospital, everyone who's on a ventilator are all unvaccinated, and the misinformation's just got to stop. I had somebody stop me over the weekend and say that they heard that 4 vaccinated folks died that were from Wayne County this weekend. And I said, well, I don't know that. Who are their names? Well, I don't know their names. Well, then how can we be, that's the type of information that gets things to run amok. So, put all that aside and talk to your healthcare provider and talk about your medical history and see if it's right for you. But we've got to do something, because, in a couple of weeks, things will probably calm back down, and that'll be great. But then 3-4 months from now, or 5 months from now, we're going to be right back in another outbreak again. This is, as we can tell, look what happened. We had something a year ago. We had a kind of a mini outbreak in August. And then we had another one right after the first of the year that lasted till mid-February. And now look where we are. And each one seems to be getting worse.
Yeah, I heard about another variant coming out. Now, for folks who are vaccinated, like Bob and me, Mom got mine in February and March. And are they still looking at 8 months down the line getting a booster? So mine would be November to get a booster shot?
It looks like 8 months later boosters. I think the earliest would be for the folks who got the shot very early would be sometime in late September. Mm-hmm. That guidance is coming out literally as we speak. So they are going to recommend boosters. There's also, I think, I read where they're looking at some ways to be able to put the flu shot and the COVID shot in one dose. We can get both of them together. The technology really is tremendous. There's all kinds of misinformation that's out there. I had another good friend of mine who lived out of town that he was just anti-vaccination. He was just, it was emergency use authorization, and he wasn't going to get it. He contracted COVID, and his doctor sent him to get some Regenico, which is the emergency use authorization infusion that you get. And he got that infusion, and within 48 hours, he felt great. And he was so happy that he was able to get that. And I had to remind him that's an emergency use authorization, just like the drug.
Right.
And I got some dead air on the phone for about 15 minutes.
Wayne County likes to rally in times of tough times. Is there anything anybody out there can do for the people at the hospital?
Get vaccinated.
That's it. I mean,
you want to help us get vaccinated because what folks don't understand is it is totally dominating our healthcare system right now. There's a lot of, there are folks who are still sick that are non-COVID related, but beds and things are tied up all over the area that patients aren't getting treatments and surgeries and things that they need because COVID is just dominating everything. So, people ask all the time and have just like you asked what they could do for the folks at the hospital. Number one thing is go get vaccinated or talk to your doctor about getting vaccinated. The vaccination has proved to be a difference maker so far. So I encourage folks to do that. We've gotten folks that have brought food, sent cards of encouragement, all wonderful, appreciated, thankful things. But we definitely are in a health crisis emergency here in Southeast Georgia right now.
And vaccines are free, and you can get them in so many locations.
The health department is a great place to go get them. No appointment necessary. You just can show up. They have Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson. You can get anyone you want. Within 20 minutes, you're in and out. You just come sign in. They get some of your information. They come in, they vaccinate you. You wait 15 minutes, and then you're right on your merry way. So the health department has got all that there. They are ready, willing, and able to go ahead and take folks on to get them vaccinated.
And there's different pharmacies around the area that you can make appointments with and get vaccinated. There's clinics, and it's free. And as Bob mentioned, it's better to get a free vaccine shot than it is a $20,000 hospital bill.
That's a good way to put it, Bob.
I just thought maybe they ought to start teaching the economic aspect
the other
of it.
thing
I mean, people understand their wallet,
Yeah.
So, I mean.
The other thing I read over the weekend, the CDC put out, and we're seeing a little bit in our emergency room, there's folks that are going over to like a Tractor Supply and other places and getting that ivermectin. Do not take that unless you're under the advice of a physician. We're seeing folks that are just taking this stuff and they're not taking the right dose or too much, because there's been some studies that think that ivermectin helps folks if they have COVID, helps you fight COVID, and there's some studies out there, and there's some legitimacy to it, but you just can't go and take a dose that may be for an animal or because what's happening is some folks are getting some high levels of toxicity and getting really, really sick. And so if you're interested in taking the ivermectin, you need to, again, contact your physician.
Don't take medications from places that sell medications for animals. Get a prescription from your doctor.
Talk to your physician. To your physician. It may be useful. It may help you. I'm not here to say it will or it will not, but talk to your physician and go through it with he or she, and they will be able to tell you what's right or wrong, because if you're not taking it properly, that could cause problems, and we're seeing that.
All right, we got the hospital administrator here, Joe Roddy. We're talking about the tremendously increase in number of COVID cases and the strain it's putting on the medical system here in our area with the hospital and doctors and clinics. Someone just texted in, I heard if you get the vaccination, you actually can spread the virus. Is that true?
If you get
the vaccine shot, if you get vaccinated, that you will say, okay, I'll just read it like it says. I heard if you get the vaccination, you actually can spread the virus.
That's impossible, because you can't spread what you don't have.
Yeah. If you do have the vaccine, you are vaccinated, and you do get COVID, then you're going to get some sort of symptoms just like Bob did, and you go get tested just like you just don't have as bad.
Correct.
But if you get vaccinated, that doesn't mean you're going to spread it, because you don't have it.
It's not a live virus.
No, it's not. No. And somebody wants to know, with all the schools closing in our area, many of them, not all, but many of them closing down and going to virtual learning, your thoughts on what should be going on here with the Wayne County schools?
That's a good question, because there's a lot of angles to that, and I really feel bad for the folks with the school system, because you're darned if you do, darned if you don't, because kids have to be in school, and I get that they need to be in school learning. The distance learning just doesn't work, and what are the long-term effects on that? As far as school goes, I think if kids go to school, I think that's fine, as long as necessary precautions are taken, to keep those kids, socially distanced, and all the things that all of us should be doing.
Yeah, we just found out that Glenn County is going for 2 weeks virtual learning to see if the number of cases drop down, so they can go back to in-class learning. So they're for 2 weeks in Glenn County, they're virtual learning now. And then somebody wants to know, what is the percentage of people with COVID in the hospital that are not vaccinated?
3%.
So 3% in the
hospital.
So 97% of the people who are admitted to the hospital with COVID are not vaccinated.
Not vaccinated.
Only 3% are vaccinated.
And none of the ones that have come in have been in critical condition.
Okay.
Again, a great, and we don't know, what their underlying conditions can be. They could be immunocompromised, if they're diabetic, if they were a smoker. There's a lot of other things that contribute to this as well. Again, I'm gonna look to my left right here and use Mr. Robert Morgan as a pure test case of somebody who was vaccinated, had a breakthrough case, but walked 3 miles a day. And Bob, you didn't take any Did you take any medication?
I just took the vitamins that they gave me. They gave me a list of vitamins to take: vitamin C, D3, zinc, and they give you a pill at night.
Melatonin.
You take that pill at night. So that's all Dr. Hendricks subscribed.
So you
to
really
me.
didn't take medication,
right?
You just took
vitamins.
I told the story. I said I went. It was Tuesday a week ago. I said that was the morning I was having trouble talking on the radio.
Right.
I really thought I just had a head cold, and I went to the doctor hoping I could get some medicine. But Dr. Hendricks says, since you're here, we have to test you for COVID. And I kept saying, I don't have COVID. No, I'm telling you, I don't have COVID. He said, well, we got to test you. You go home for 2 days. We'll let you know. Sure enough, they called Thursday, said she tested positive for COVID. And I was like, I can't, because I don't have any symptoms. I'm fine. I want to go do that game at Georgia Southern. He said, no, you have to stay quarantined for 10 days. So stubborn me went to the place where you get a rapid test, and they came back. You got it. It's tested
Bob.
So I wasted that. I wasted that money. So I went back to Dr. Henderson. Well, what do I do now that I've got it? So he said, he came out and gave me a list of those. He said, go get these vitamins, take these vitamins, and he said, make sure you exercise once a day. He says, because you don't want to. Supposedly, you don't. If you sit around and don't do anything, then it gets worse. So he said, make sure, at least an hour a day, you get out and, get exercise, but take these vitamins and you should be okay. He said, and he told me, be thankful you got vaccinated. He said, because you had not got vaccinated with my prior condition, it could be a bad situation.
Probably in a respirator in the hospital.
So I told everybody over the weekend, I just feel blessed that I didn't have bad symptoms. I mean, I hate I didn't get to that game in Georgia Southern.
Yeah, me too.
But I had to do what I had to do. Had to follow doctor's orders, and like I said, I'm just blessed to have it. That's the one thing. Listen to your doctor. I don't.
That's all you got to do. Just talk to your doctor.
That's the thing that drives me crazy. These people that are on Facebook and taking all this information like it's gospel, but that's not just in this situation. It's just a lot of situations. But
I never thought I'd hear that. I never think
that's all we've been emphasizing.
And I just think it's going to happen more and more as social media has become more popular. What is somebody just texted in, what is the youngest COVID patient you've seen, and what is the youngest that has been hospitalized?
Wow. I'm trying to think the youngest hospitalized. I think the youngest one we've seen hospitalized is maybe 21 or 22, I think. And we've seen young children that have gotten it with mild symptoms. Mom has it, so they go ahead and they treat and they test younger. So I'm not sure exactly how young, but very young.
In the 20s.
But again, it's younger than it was. Remember before, if you were under the age of 35 or under the age of 30, if you got COVID, you didn't know it. Now, as this thing as
we got the Delta variant,
now as these variants come, now you're seeing those ages drop, and it. I I know from some colleagues that they've had patients as young as 19 on ventilators in Savannah.
All right, another question that came in is, do most of the unvaccinated patients who come in with COVID end up in ICU also have pre-existing conditions? Basically, most of the people in ICU, do they already have pre-existing conditions if they have COVID, or do you have a lot of patients who never had any pre-existing conditions in ICU?
Okay, good question. We've had them come in under the age of 30 with no pre-existing conditions and be in the intensive care unit. Yes, there's some, but now with this variant, it is attacking folks who are young with no pre-existing conditions.
Young, healthy people.
Yes.
Here's a question I hear a lot of times. People say, whatever happened to the flu? Does anybody get the flu? Does anybody just get the normal flu?
Well, last year the flu numbers were way down.
Right.
Which makes sense because we were being careful.
Well, because people were distanced and they were masked, and that's why. A lot of all of these things are wonderful and great questions that folks have, and these are great questions to call your healthcare provider with, to be able to answer these questions to help make you an informed decision. It's the question that came earlier: can I spread it? If I get the vaccine, am I going to spread it to others? That's a great question because you don't want to spread it to other folks.
Well,
but you talk to your doctor.
Yeah. No, I mean, Dr. Henry he said you got to quarantine because it's highly contagious. I mean, he stressed that. He said you don't want to give it to anybody else. He said so you got to quarantine. So that's what I did. He said, and you go walk, make sure you're away from everybody. So I did exactly what he told me to do. So, like I said, knock on wood, it wasn't that bad of a case. Like I said, it was just really. I never had a fever. I had it. Like I said, my big thing was trying to get where my normal voice would be back, but I never had a sore throat. I never had, like I said, it was just light symptoms. So I feel blessed in that regard. But like I said, did what he told me to do, and tried to get out and exercise once a day. So like I said, had a good weekend. Got to play golf Saturday until it got rained on, and played 18 holes yesterday. So I mean, it's all good.
18 holes yesterday.
Yep.
A couple of the things that we talk about with what I think with the vaccine is, one of the questions I get all the time is that the vaccine was just created, it was fast tracked. One of the questions I get: did labs fast track development of the vaccine and put the formula into mass production before it could get approved? And the facts are there was no shortcuts taken in testing and trials of the vaccines. The amount of time given to COVID-19 vaccine trials was similar to that of previous vaccines. However, what abbreviated the emergency status was the bureaucracy and logistics. FDA requires a 2-month observation period to look for any signs of vaccine side effects, but the COVID-19 vaccines were subject to a 4-month period out of an abundance of caution. That's something that's really important for folks to know. That this thing just vaccinations have been going on since the 1600s.
Well, maybe the word about the vaccines getting out, because I saw a story. There was a place up there in Atlanta, a mall where people would go get the vaccine, and the traffic was backed up miles and miles off the interstate, and they gave out like 2,500 vaccines throughout the day. So maybe the word is getting out across the state that, vaccination is the thing to do. So that was a positive sign that I saw. I mean, they showed that story where, it started at 8 a.m. in the morning, went to 8 o'clock at night, but the traffic was off the interstate. People lined up to get the vaccine.
Right. And another misnomer is the mRNA, which is what they call the messenger RNA. It doesn't affect your DNA, and mRNA technology for vaccines has been around since the late 80s. It was very instrumental in helping patients who are HIV positive. What it does is the same thing. What the mRNA vaccine does is what this vaccine does is it decreased the viral load. HIV was a virus, and it decreased the viral load in your body. And that's why you have people like Magic Johnson, who they thought wouldn't live more than 5 to 7 years, who's still with us today, over 30 years later. And that's what this that's why they've taken this same technology and being able to apply it to that.
Is there any sign on when this is going to start decreasing? Have they told us that? Does anybody know that
I've seen
answer?
all different kinds of theories that maybe we're peaking right now. I've seen signs of that. It's going to depend on the Labor Day holiday. with gatherings and things of that nature. Golly, the infection rate is so high. I mean, there's only, how much higher can it go? But I think that may be what would prolong this is what happens with the Labor Day holiday.
Right. I talked to Butch last week. A lot of these stadiums have different, right now Georgia has no restrictions, but it'll be interesting to see if they.
Did you say LSU? If you're going to an LSU Tiger game, you got to be vaccinated.
You have to show proof of vaccination to get in the LSU stadium. So every school's making their own policy right now.
And the NFL stadiums, you have to wear a mask. So the Georgia Clemson game, you're going to have a mask on.
Right.
Don't have to be vaccinated. You just got to have a mask on unless you're eating or drinking something.
So before you go to a football game, you might want to call to see what the requirements
always have
are.
a mask with you just in case.
It's going to come down. It's going to come down. But, where we go from here is going to be dependent upon what steps people take to protect themselves and protect others.
The main message, we've been saying it for weeks, is if you have any questions, the person to call is your family physician.
And a lot of the questions I've gotten in here really need to go to a person's doctor. Yeah. Right. Okay? Really needs to go to a doctor, to your healthcare provider. We can sit here and speculate and on different issues, whether churches and government and social events and stuff like that, but really talk to your doctor.
Yeah, and people should have questions. People should have questions, but don't take it from what someone tells Bob. I heard and someone said are the two biggest liars on the planet. A wise person told you and me that one time. I heard someone said are the two biggest.
I heard someone say
he said.
Yeah, the two biggest liars on the planet. So I mean, talk with your physician. And that would be the best thing to do. And then you can make that individual, just like you would on any other health care needs.
Any of the other health issues you may have.
You work with your physician and decide what's right for you.
Okay, well, we got Joe Arati here, the hospital administrator for the Wayne Memorial Hospital, talking about the increase in COVID cases. And as you said, it's just rack, stacked, and packed down there with patients at Wayne Memorial right now.
And if you see somebody who that works at Wayne Memorial, tell them thank you. Nurses, doctors, lab, respiratory, but it's everybody, okay? Nobody's doing what they normally do, okay? It's all hands on deck. We have folks in our medical records department running charts back into answering phones in the ER. It's all hands on deck right now. So if you see somebody, someone that works there, tell them thank you because they're holding it together. The hours they're putting in, the days that they're putting in, taking care of people, it's wonderful to see. But folks really need to be thankful that we have these folks here in our community that are that dedicated to taking care of people.
And we're blessed to have a hospital. And like you said, fortunately, we built a new one a couple of years ago. You said the old hospital probably wouldn't be equipped to handle what's going on.
The old hospital
right
wouldn't
now.
be able to have the infrastructure to be able to handle all this. All right, so luckily, the foresight to go ahead and build that and have a facility here that could handle all the ventilators and the patients in the O2 in the rooms, isolation rooms, and things of that nature that have really been a big help.
So are we getting a lot of patients that in counties that have no hospitals? Is that where they're coming from?
We do, just like right. It's a mix, just like it would normally be. But be thankful to those folks. Their dedication and commitment is off the charts.
I've got a nephew that lives in Brunswick who works for the EMT over there in Glenn County, and he was just talking about they just don't know where they're going to put everybody. I mean, they're running all over Glenn County, picking up patients and taking them to the hospital and so forth. And they've made the entire fourth floor at the hospital over in Brunswick COVID. They just don't know where they're going to put everybody. They got empty spaces. They're just trying to put patients. They just don't have enough room. And we're basically practically the same thing here.
But we have 56 patients at Wayne Memorial that are COVID positive. 56 at this time.
Jeez.
And how many of those are on ventilators?
18.
18 of the 56. How many ventilators does the hospital have? Is there a limit to how many ventilators they have? People ask that question.
Yeah. If we can find one, we're grabbing them. We've got plenty for right now. We've got plenty, but those things don't grow on trees. but we being able to have enough of those is there's a couple things that are very important. Having ventilators, having power, and having plenty of oxygen. We in 4 days we're using more oxygen because patients need oxygen. They need oxygen to help them through this. We're going through 30 days worth of oxygen, and what we normally go through in 30 days, we're going through in 4 days.
Wow.
Well, last week the governor deployed some of the National Guard to some hospitals. Is that taking place here?
In the area, Savannah, I think there's Brunswick and Savannah, because it's it's like Butch said. I think they said there was 140 patients in the Brunswick Hospital. Maybe is that right, Butch? Or something like that.
What Nick said, how many were there? But there are a lot of them. And he said it's just amazing the percentage that are dying. It's just a crisis there. He said just a crisis there. It's kind of how he said it. It's just a crisis.
Yeah, and there's no other way to put it. But the good news is there's a potential way out of this with vaccinations. So talk to your healthcare provider about getting vaccinated.
Okay. And somebody wants to know, are they turning the old Wayne State Prison into a temporary hospital?
Have not heard that. There's been some discussions potentially about that, but I think that's all it is, just preliminary discussions.
Okay, just you got a plan just in case.
And last time we went through this, the community leaders get together once a week. They're still doing that this time. That's what I heard. So they meet every Friday. Is that when they get together?
Yeah,
right.
And it's just a way to let everybody know what's going on and
page what's
going on.
Right.
So stay healthy. Everybody stay well. Take care of yourself. Use good common sense in dealing with this here for now, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it. It's just gonna take time, and it's gonna take due diligence on everyone's part.
All right, Joe Arvati, Wayne Memorial Hospital this morning. Just talking with us this morning, you can tell it's from his heart because you can see what's going on there at Wayne Memorial Hospital and the number of patients there and the COVID patients and what everybody's going through there. The nurses, the doctors, everybody at the hospital's having to work there is having to put in double time, triple time, just having to put in a lot of time to help take care. And just our hats off to all the health workers and EMT workers and first responders here in Wayne County. All right. Y'all have a good day. All right, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup, world famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by First Southern Bank, by Murphy Builder Supply, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, and by O'Quinn & Associates Country Finance.